Hello and welcome to my review of the LE1600 by Motion Computing, a 2005 tablet PC that at its time was very well represented by a company that pretty much just worked only on tablet PCs. And now that it's a little bit older, I've kind of rediscovered it and thought maybe this might be a great tablet for the classroom. Now, to give you a little bit of an idea, this is not a touchscreen tablet. It is also not a capacitive resistive screen. You cannot do anything with your fingers. You must use a stylus. That is something that may take a lot getting used to, especially if you're used to an iPad or an Android tablet. But I found out that it actually becomes very natural, just like writing on paper. And as you'll see in a second, I think it has much more practical applications using this as opposed to using this in your classroom. Really quickly, let's take a look at the LE1600. This is a 1.5 gigahertz Intel Centrino processor. I also have 1.5 gigabytes of RAM. This can only go up to 1.5 gigabytes of RAM because it's an older motherboard inside, but I maxed it out and it's running great. Windows 7. It comes with XP naturally, but you can upgrade it through various forums online until you put Windows 7 on it, and it runs beautifully. I actually have Office 2010 running on here as well, and it runs flawlessly. It has a 60 gigabyte hard drive, very small by today's standards, but enough to put on this operating system, Office, a couple other software suites, and store most of my files I use in the classroom. So for me, it's not going to be my go-to PC, but it's going to be a wonderful thing to keep in my small group table or even walk around my classroom with. I'm taking a look at all the ports inside this. You have your speakers up front here. You have some buttons that do a couple various options that I'll show you in a little bit. If I turn it on its side here, you're going to see some very familiar ports. You have your VGA port. You have a proprietary port that's more for motion computing here. You have your headphone and your microphone, and you have two USB ports right here, so you can use all your normal things in the classroom. If I flip it over on this side, you're going to see a SD card slot, and you're also going to have the spot where you keep the stylus. It pops in and out really beautifully, so you don't have to lose it anytime. Speaking of that, the stylus itself actually is not battery powered. It's got nothing inside of it. It does react to the screen when you touch it very nicely, but you don't have to worry about running out of batteries any given time. That's another beautiful thing about it. It's fairly sturdy too, so I don't think it'll be breaking in your classroom anytime soon. I did mention some of these buttons. Some of these buttons will bring up options for the tablet PC or move you around a little bit with the cursor here. This actually acts like almost like a little mouse. This one actually rotates the screen, which you can put it kind of like reading a book, which is really kind of neat. It makes it pretty useful. And there to see it's going a long way, so if you want to look at a document a long way, you can do it that way. And there you go. Now over here we have a battery on the top, and this particular model, the LE1600, actually comes with an additional battery you can get on the back. And back in its heyday, it got about 9 hours of charge. So that's a full school day. Today this gets about 3 hours, but again, if you're doing a lesson, you can do a couple lessons in a row, go to lunch, charge it up, and be ready to go again. Let's look at the stylus. Now the stylus here works, like I said, you can hover or you can tap. Long tapping actually brings up a right click, so you can get used to it, and it works out really nice. You can bring up, I'm going to bring up a Word document right now, and this is one thing I find really cool about this tablet PC, is that we oftentimes use software and we don't realize that there is actually, I don't think it took it there, there's actually options built into Windows, especially Windows 7, for tablet PCs. It actually started back in Windows XP with 2005, where they added a XP tablet version. Now they have it in Vista, and they have it in Windows 7. They're definitely going to have it in Windows 8, which this thing might actually run. I'll be interested to try it out when it does come out. But here I have a Word document. You saw how fast that loaded, so very practical for classroom use. But actually, over here, there's a little tab. I'll bring it up to the camera so you can get a better look at it. If I have to focus there. Okay. If you can see it, it says, and you probably can't see it, it says Ink Tools. And that's something that you wouldn't see normally using regular PC. Now, if I do this, and I use the Ink Tools, it actually brings up an option for a pen. And the pen can write on this, so if I'm following along with my students, I can say, I'll show you really quickly, hello, YouTube. You saw how fast that was. And I can actually save it in that document. So if I wanted to save it and open up later on, that hello YouTube would still be there. Pretty neat. And see, it wants to save it. Another thing that's actually pretty cool is even in PowerPoint. I'll show you this. I use PowerPoint a lot to show my students things, and I've always kind of thought, well, you know, PowerPoint, you make it, you show it, that's it. It's great now because I can actually make this a living thing. I can start my PowerPoints with my students, and then there's pen tools in the corner. So I can click on pen, I can say, oh, pay real close attention to this item right here, or this is going to be on the test. See, that's really neat to do, and again, it'll save it inside the PowerPoint, so it makes it a very interactive experience. Instead of just simply showing them something, you can interact with it. Maybe even have the students come up and actually draw on it. Very, very exciting stuff. Now here's my problem. I have to see if I can get out of here. Go back to the corner here. And it's going to want to save it again. It does that, which, again, is great, because you can always come back to it later on. Now, sometimes I might need a keyboard, and there is software built into Windows 7. You bring it up here. There it is. You have a couple options. You can do a handwriting tool, and what it'll do is I'll do hello again. It'll take my handwriting, and it'll figure it out, and it'll turn it to type, and then I can insert that type almost like a copy and paste. If you don't like that, there's a little keyboard option, and this becomes, oh, let me go here. Keyboard. There you go. And you can actually do that. Now this particular item actually comes with a keyboard. Actually, I shouldn't say it comes with it. I got it separately. But this keyboard right here actually goes right into the unit, into the bottom of the unit. And you can use it as typing. It's got a little trackball mouse there. And you can use that if you need to stick it in typing, and it can still charge there too. So there is a keyboard option. I think I paid about $20 for that keyboard on eBay. So this whole unit probably cost me about $150 total to put everything together. And I think I got a pretty good deal for my classroom. My intentions are to be using this via the VGA out into a flat screen TV. That'll be positioned behind my small group table, and I'll be doing all kinds of work and writing on it and showing pictures and video and annotating PDFs, annotating Word documents, annotating PowerPoints, and making my small group so much more multimedia based. Again, this is the LE1600 by Motion Computing. There's a lot of them on eBay. If you don't want to go for really high price, we can get the LE1400 for under $100, and you get the same kind of options. And you can start doing actual tablet work in your classroom. I have an iPad, I have an Android tablet, I love those things, but for practicality right now, this thing is going to rule my classroom. Thank you, YouTube, and I'll see you next time with another review.